So, what happened was we got Biden for the first term for 4 years. Then we still had to continue the BS shenanigans with the pandemic. We were still recovering from that. And then once we got through that, inflation became a big problem. Then we had lots of free money flowing into the economy, so a lot of people had extra money. So then people were buying up houses like crazy, because people had a disposable income at the time, you know. So when we come out of the pandemic, not only did everybody have to remote work, make money from home, and all this extra stuff, we had once the economy opened back up, everybody was out. The economy boomed, but then inflation was also soaring. Now, of course, people were mad about that. People were mad about the way Biden handled Afghanistan, which I'd argue was actually something good Biden did. So I'm going to disagree with a lot of people on that, because Biden actually kept his promise and pulled us out of Afghanistan. And I say kudos to Biden for that, because a lot of politicians would not do that. Now, I know the plan was botched. I don't disagree with that. No operation goes 100% perfect, though, let's just be honest. But he did something right there, and the media attacked him for it. And that frustrated me to no end, because whenever Biden did something good, the media would attack him for it. They vilified him. So not only did they focus more on his health and cognitive issues than they ever do on Donald Trump right now, which I find ironic. But they went on and on and on. I mean, as soon as he did that poll, the whole media apparatus attacked him. The political establishment attacked him, because he dared to pull us out of forever redeem war. So then his approval rating tanked as a result. A lot of people weren't happy with Biden anymore. Okay, obviously it was going to be a catastrophic midterm election for the Democratic Party. And the Republicans were going to scream inflation from the rooftops, hoping they can get back in office. So I want to remind people, Biden was the one that passed the Inflation Reduction Act. The Democratic Party approved that and pushed that. Not one Republican voted for it. Not one Republican. But yet they care so much about inflation. Interesting. So then we obviously had the migrant crisis. We had all these other issues going on. So yeah, of course, a lot of people got mad at Biden as a result of that. And I'd argue the Democratic Party dropped the ball in the immigration argument, and they tried to run to the right, thinking it was going to help their cause. Running as Diet MAGA and Republican Light. How does that work out for you guys? It doesn't. So you need to change the playbook on immigration, because they're always going to use immigration as a scapegoat. Republicans do that 101. They've been doing it for the last 20 plus years. I've been watching. Okay. I'm not that young anymore. I'm 41. I've been watching this playbook for over 20 years, and I'm telling you right now, the Democratic Party is going to change their tune when they talk about immigration, and they need to stop just staying on the sidelines about the issue, hoping that people wake up to what's really going on. No, you need to double down on why you're pro-immigration. And if we had a legal immigration system, we wouldn't have all these problems. If there was a legal pathway to citizenship here, which we do not have, and they make it very hard for people to become citizens here. So what do people do? They take illegal, unnecessary measures to get here. That's just the truth. Here's the thing. All that was going on under Biden. People were not happy. Rightfully so. Be fair though, inflation did get down to 2.4% by the time Biden left office. So inflation was going down. Now, I acknowledge that the Democratic Party didn't really listen to the concerns of the American people at the time when they were dealing with this issue. Wouldn't meet people where they're at. Assumed that they did enough for people to reelect them. And thought there's no way people are going to vote for Trump Republicans. Well, to be fair, it was the Republican court, Roe, that repealed Roe back in 2022, Dobbs, which destroyed it for the Republican Party's midterm elections, because they didn't do as good as they could have done. To be fair, they still won back the House. But they didn't win much else, and they won the House by like 10 seats instead of 25 like they were being predicted to win by, or 30. They didn't win back the Senate. The Democrats won the Senate. So yeah, I'd argue the Supreme Court ruling stifled Republican victories by a lot. And then plus a lot of these people were running as far-right zealots. So it greatly underperformed in the 2022 midterm elections, despite the fact people were unhappy with Joe Biden. So then 2024 rolls around, and what happened? Biden decided to run for re-election, knowing he had no shot in heck, and he was going to run against Donald Trump again, who I'd argue he had a little bit of a primary between him and Nikki Haley, which, you know, obviously did not happen. Trump comfortably won the primary. The Democrats coordinated Joe Biden, even though nobody wanted Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden flubbed the debate with Donald Trump, and all of a sudden, they forced him to drop out and put Kamala Harris in the last minute. And they kept going around telling people the status quo is working, we're going to continue on our quote-unquote progress, and that was not going to be adequate for the American public. They were just like, no. So that was a big mistake for the Democrats. So I knew ultimately, and then you had a couple progressives in Congress who did get elected in 2020 and only lasted a couple years. Yeah, they lasted a couple cycles. Ultimately, the pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, came in and spent a lot of money against two very vocal progressives. Was it Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, who dared to speak out against the war crimes that Israel committed against Gaza. And they got unseated as a result. Now it's ironic that you see people like MJ, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and people on the left and right alike acknowledging that Israel pushing war is getting out of control now. Johnny come late, but finally everybody has now get on the same page. Okay, so I'd argue, I knew this was going to eventually happen. All right, so the Democrats ran a quote-unquote status quo campaign. Kamala Harris was the candidate. There was a lot of shenanigans that went on behind the scenes there, obviously. And there's more to talk about with that. And I believe Elon Musk had a little bit of his hands in that to help Trump win. But, you know, here's the thing. The Democratic Party really didn't try that hard. They shunned a lot of their own base. They shut out pro-Palestinian protesters. They wouldn't have Palestinian people speak at their DNC event. They shut out a big wing of their own votes. So when 2024 came around, surprisingly, Kamala Harris lost to Donald Trump. Popular vote, electoral college, everything. And again, it was time to have a reckoning again. Donald Trump won a second term. And he already said if he was going to get in a second time, he was going to do it right this time. And that was not going to be a good thing. And we saw the fruits of that. Donald Trump was going to get his ultimate retribution and revenge. And he did. He made sure we reaped every benefit of that. All right. So we got him for another term. He's destroying the country. We're seeing the effects of that. But now you're finally seeing the rise of a political outsider energy that's actually genuine, of people that are running as populist candidates who actually want to help the American public. So there is a silver lining in all this destruction. And you're seeing the reality of people coming to grips with reality about the fact the government's not working for them. And they know this now. All right, I'm going to tell you off my next video. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Goodbye.